That's CNAT. The next thing I really want to talk about is emotions. I think emotions are taking over us as traders and investors, and from what I've learned and what I've experienced from my journey into trading is that the emotion is what is going to make you lose the most money. It is going to make you leave the most profits on the table. It is going to make you hold on to a losing trade. It is going to make you hold on to a winning trade and watch that winning trade hit 100% gains and make a 180% U-turn and go all the way down, and you're going to have a 100% gain turn into a 20% loss because your greed and emotions took over, and your fear and all of these. It's such a mad mix. Emotions. I'm going to get in a little bit of scientific stuff on emotions. I've read a few books about this. I've gone through some things in my life where I thought, okay, how can I control my brain? How can I get, how can I get a little more in a little more ahead of the curve, essentially, in what's going to come down the pipeline and what kind of things I'm going to feel when certain outside factors affect me. So, emotions basically are an arousal of the nervous system. Okay, they're caused by inside or outside stimulants. Without without a stimulant, you will have no arousal. So whether the stimulant is you just inside your head thinking and thinking and thinking about the future and about what's going on or what's happened in the past, or other auditory or optical stimulants that you've seen, car accident, you saw something great, you saw someone wrote some words on Facebook that affected you, whatever it was, some sort of stimulant will create an arousal of your nervous system, and then your body is going to naturally go into autonomous production of hormones, which are going to affect you. So there's no bigger stimulant in this world than money right now, I feel. They affect everything. They affect the way we think about our future, our family. They affect the way we think about how our life was growing up. Whatever it is, money is one of the most massive stimulants there is. So I'm going to just go into a few pictures here and do my best at. I'm not a science professor. I don't have a background in biology. I don't have a background in human anatomy. But from what I've learned, this is the best understanding, and I'm going to try and lay it out for you guys. Again, I'll just show you these quick little trades so you guys can see that these were my last 5 days of trading for the last week. INNL and IDXG is all I did. So just want to show you that. So here we go. Look at that. I got some slides. I'm getting smarter. So our emotional brain. Oh, this isn't the one I want first. Here we go. This is what I want first. So the brain, obviously compartmentalized, broken up to a bunch of different lobes. You got your temporal lobe, which is your auditory stuff. You got your frontal lobe, which is cognitive memory and ability to concentrate and use judgment. Parietal lobe, it's an important play in information and in integrating it. Occipital lobe is in the back of your head. That's your optical nerve. In your vision. Cerebral is the function for motor stuff. Cerebellum, sorry, is for motor skills, and then your brainstem is essentially the highway of your nervous system for touch and feel and pain and all parts of your body information flows up your brainstem into your brain. So super super technical, super amazing, the brain and the way it works and all of these things, how they jive and work together and flow, or they fight each other. And a lot of it goes on and we have no idea about it and we have no control over it. But you can try to control some of these things and some of these aspects. So, we'll do our best to try and control it. And I'm going to do my best to try and explain some of these things right now. So, the emotional brain, here we go. So, broken up into a few different areas. Again, cerebral cortex, where all your lobes are. Limbic system, which is inside of your brain. This is your main producer of hormones. This is where all our emotions come from, and your primitive brain, reptilian it can be called. It's your instinct brain. That's your fight or flight. That's what takes over. That's what every mammal has right off the get-go. That's the brain that we have. Luckily, as humans, we were blessed with this cerebral cortex, this limbic system, to get a little more out of the power of the mammalian brain, so to speak. So thinking and feelings come in and out in your cerebral cortex. Some sort of event is received It's gone in here, and you know, this is where the numbers are crunched, the gears are turning, and your brain decides to spit out what type of emotion depending on what type of event happened. And it will, you know, it can range from physical, like you can feel goosebumps, you can feel mad, sad, angry, jealousy, you know, greed, fear, all sorts of things come flying out of here at 100 miles an hour, and that's what we're trying to, you know, we're trying to limit and not make it such a direct line from event to limbic system. We want to start to go up. We want to go into thinking first, and then we want to be able to think and decide what kind of emotion we're going to spit out from that. And that's just repetition, and that just takes time. So here's another one I got here. So this is pertaining to the market, cycle of market emotions. Please raise your hand if you've ever gone through this roller coaster. You start with optimism, right? You buy a stock. You get excited when it goes up a little bit. You really start to get excited, right? Oh, I'm feeling great about this investment. I'm right. I'm on the king of the world. Actually, well, that's not quite yet. So you're still in the thrill section. You're still really excited about the stock. You're moving. It's moving. You're happy, and then you get to euphoria. You know, might be where you start telling people about it. You start bragging or whatever you want to do. You know, you get to euphoria, and this is the apex. This is the top, the peak. This is you've climbed the mountain, and you can either take the easy way back down, right, and sell and take some profits off the table, or you can jump off the cliff, essentially, in my theory. So you're at the point of maximum financial risk. The stock starts to roll over a little bit more. Obviously, with technical analysis, you need to be able to interpret this, and maybe it's just doing a little pullback, and you need to really, this is the turning point. This right here, between euphoria and anxiety, this is where you should have already had a plan in place with a line drawn here, some sort of support level, possibly, straight across that says, if it gets down to this line, I will sell. Because if you got in down here, or got in anywhere here, I mean, you know, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say that would be a 75% return, right? Just under 75% return. So you need to have an exit strategy, always, for buying, or for selling for a loss, for selling for profit. First for selling for a loss, and then for selling for profit. So when you bought here, you need to have already had an exit strategy. And I personally, I sell in, you know, I like to try and sell in this area. I like to sell on the way up. Yeah, you missed these two, you missed that 50% or whatever it is, but you know what? You don't have to fight with these emotions on the way down. So, because these are the ones that kill you. So here we go. Anxiety, strap in because we're on our way down the roller coaster, right? Denial, temporary setback. And this is where we all sell ourselves. This is where we bought over here because we thought we were going to make a lot of money right here. And right here, all of us, we type or we say these words. I guess it's a long hold. I guess that's a long hold now. Yep, I guess I'm in this long, right? Long and short are obviously completely different. When you long sell, or when you long buy, or when you short sell, there's also, the better way to look at is investment horizon or investment timeline. So you're always long when you buy a stock for it to be bullish. It's just your investment horizon or timeline that decides what's going on. So that is essentially what you're saying here, is you're lengthening your investment horizon or timeline. So on the way down we go. Now we're in fear, now we're in depression, or desperation. Desperation is the line that you bought at, right? Fear and desperation are right around the lines that you bought at. Your 100% investment is now sitting at 0% investment, and it is on the run to becoming negative investment. So this is the last line of defense. And if you hold through this next section, I mean, here is not the end of the world. You're still all in profit, but this is it. This is where you really need to be out, right? Breakout or bailout. That's my motto right now, and I'm gonna stick by it until it either kills me or makes me a millionaire or whatever. Anyway, so we're rolling off, and down we go, down the roller coaster, and now we're in panic. And this is a time here where maybe the markets aren't just for me. I don't think that I tend to not think that. Maybe after a few red trades, I might start to think that. This is where I start to. I used to start going to Stockhouse or Stock Twits. I used to start asking questions like, "Oh, does anybody know when an NR is coming out, or this and that, or earnings must be good?" And I start to build up these thoughts in my head of very optimistic thoughts of how the stock is going to get better. Sorry, I just turn my phone off here. So, and then we get down to the belly, right? And this is unfortunately where a lot of people end up dumping their position. And this could be over 20 minutes. This could be over 5 minutes. This could be over a year. This could be over a month. This time frame here could be anything. And the problem is that entry and exit was not thought up. An exit was not thought of, and you find yourself down here, and then when you get into this area, then you start to sell, and then look at that, it starts to roll back up, and we're back into optimism, and chances are the cycle starts all over again. So a couple things that I want to talk about a little bit. We go back to one of my slides here. Sorry. So the amygdala, this is the epicenter for back to the science stuff on it. So the amygdala is this epicenter. This is where the hormones and emotions and stuff like that flow out of. And the thalamus is also in there as well, hippocampus, and these are just autonomic nervous system reactions. These hormones that are produced. They will control us. They will take over our thought pattern. They will put a complete halt to rational thought and rational thinking. And we need to, as traders, we need to always be thinking rational. We need to not let our emotions step in and take over. We need to, limit the ass slapping and chest bumps, as I like to say, and then and focus more on our strategy and our plan, and instill that in time. Constant repetition over a time frame will help to forge new instincts and new reactions. If you just fall back on all the things that you've ever learned in life, your parents told you that it was hot, so then you start touching it and it gets hot, and then you get burnt, and then you experience pain, so then you experience fear of something that is over hot. If they always told you, no, it feels good, this is a crazy example, but it is how we're programmed. We're programmed through repetition. If it's how people survive, extreme measures, it's because they've trained their bodies and they've trained themselves that something that's really hot or something that's really cold is not actually really hot, and they train themselves to enjoy it, so to speak. Those are, like I said, very extreme examples, but for the most part, you need to work on repetition. And in the market, the best way to work on repetition is to study and follow trend and follow pattern and start to trust yourself and really start to use technical analysis. In my eyes, is the best way. Fundamentals, buying into a company that's going to go up, that's going to expand in value, are great. But if you want to trade and you want to get in and out, and regardless of what you do as an investor or trader, you should always know. Your entry and your exit, because that's going to dictate how much money you make. You can buy a stock and hold on to it forever, and you can hold on to it for 30 years. Apple, people bought Apple at $3 a share, and what is it now, $140? That's great, but how many dips did it go through along the way, right? They could have kept adding to their position. They could have played the dips, especially if you're in a stock for 30 years and you've watched it go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down, and you never actually clicked sell and took any profits. Well, I guess, whatever. Teach their own, but unrealized gains are unrealized gains, and they'll just sit there, and your market will, your value will grow, your portfolio will grow, but you'll never actually you're not going to learn from that. You're not going to get in and out of the trade. You're not going to find exit and entry and move around in it and experience loss and this and that. You might keep your emotions under wrap, or you might ride those dips and ups and downs on that emotional roller coaster that we just talked about a couple minutes ago. So a couple things just kind of before I go. How do we control emotions is the number one thing. How do we take over this autonomous nervous system that was programmed in us? We have instincts, instinctual emotions that are kind of inside of us from the mammalian brain, fight or flight. We have our limbic system, which is the controlling area of our hormones and our production of hormones. Jealousy, fear, greed, fear of missing out, hatred, all of those things. How do we take control of that? It's like trying to say, how do we slow our heart down or something like that. These things are very hard to stop because the wheels have been turning on them for, I'm 32, so my wheels have been turning for 30 years on these things. As soon as I came out of the womb, I started learning and I started reacting, and not only that, I also have years and years of evolution inside of me. Not years, sorry, thousands, millions of years of evolution inside of me that have also brought me to this point as well in my life. So how do we control the emotions? Emotions are engraved in us from the beginning, right? As I said before, they're the autonomic reaction that occurs as we receive information. So the best way to try and control them and control that programming is to reprogram. And by reprogramming and reinstating new reactions to elements and events that are coming into us, we need to have a plan. We need to focus on a certain plan and make it repetitive. We need to make it natural. That way, when that event is triggered, when that stock is flying up or that stock is sailing down or whatever it is, based on our trading plan, we can look at it and we can stay up here in the thinking area, right? As opposed to the feeling. We can stay in the thinking area and make a conscious, calculated decision out of our rational thought based off of an emotional outburst that is just created on its own because that's the way that it is, right? Nobody likes to lose money. As soon as you start losing money, heart starts pumping, fear kicks in, and you just you freeze up sometimes. You don't know what to do. Some people are great. Some people know exactly what to do. Those people have trained themselves. So you have to create new instincts. You can't build new instincts. You can't build new reactions. They take time. They take discipline. They take learning and reading. But the biggest thing that I could say is just consistency. You need to be consistent in how you do things. You need to always look at it the same way. People say they hate going to their same job all the time because they just do it and it's mindless and it's boring and they're just, I'm in the same job and but at the end of the day, it's really pretty easy. And that's why they keep going back, because it is easy and it's repetitive. They drive the same route to their job. They walk in, they sit down, they get their coffee the same way, they turn on their computer the same way. Whatever it is, they do it over and over and over and over and over again, where it's basic instinct. They just get up and they just do it. What happens when you get a new position in a new job? Everybody can agree you're thrown off. You don't really know what to do. Maybe the job's in a new part of town. You don't know the route. You got a new boss. You're using a new computer system. You got to learn and learn and learn. But over time, what happens? After 3, 5, 10 years, you get back to that same point of, I'm driving the same way to work. I'm doing the same thing over again. La 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 la. So that was that was an apex. That was a turning point in your life where you decided, I am not going to think the same way about one way of thinking, about one way of doing, and you're going to switch to another way of thinking and another way of doing. Again, pretty big generalization of an example, but that is a turning point where you decided to take over, and change the way that you think and the way that you feel, and you worked yourself through it, and it ended up becoming a repetition again. So it can be used for everything. Sports, I worked in a lot of jobs like manufacturing and stuff like that, and worked in the oil field. And at first, those things might seem like totally crazy. You're just learning. You're just a big sponge learning and learning. There's so much information flying into you and all around you. You don't really know what to do with yourself. But over time, it becomes second nature and it starts to feel good, and you might end up hating it or whatever, or maybe it's not for you and you get fired or quit or find a new job. Sure, there's a lot of outside different elements that can happen, but the basic bones of it is that you took the time, you learned, you studied, whatever it was, and it became natural. So I think the best and easiest way to control our emotions is to focus on building a system and focus on creating the new system a natural occurrence. So for me, when I look at stocks, I try and build my support and resistance levels. I try and set up my charts the same way. I try and set up my order entry the same way, and I try and use I know my exit strategies, and I know I try to find my entries, and base it off of calculated decisions. And if I always do that, if I always keep continuing to do that the same way, I'm seeing it already over the last month that I'm progressing in the sense where I'm finding a pattern, I'm finding a setup, I'm getting into the trade, I'm getting out of the trade. And that's what it is. And I'm either getting in for a small win or I'm getting in for a small loss. I'm not in the trade watching it go up and thinking, oh, it's going to go up forever, and then holding on to it and it turns around and in my mind I get this potential profit anxiety of fear of missing out, and it's going to come back up and it's going to go back up to wherever it was. And I end up in this area here, this denial, fear, desperation, panic, this downward slope. I try and get in here or here, right, as I see it moving based on my patterns, based on what I'm studying and what I look for, and I try and get out in here before I get to this peak euphoria where I think that I'm on top of the world and stock is going to go, it's just going to keep going up and up and up, and it turns a corner, and I'm then quickly trying to retrace my steps and figure out where I went wrong and blah 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 blah, and end up down here in desperation and then selling for a loss. So 2 exits, right? Where are you going to sell for a loss, or where are you going to sell for break even, and then where are you going to sell for profit? Consistency, setting up whatever you set up the same way every time, looking for whatever pattern or whatever stock you're interested in at the same time, every way, creating a watch list at night the same way, every way. Whatever it is, be repetitive about it, be consistent about it, and start to build that basic instinct inside of your brain. Don't let it take over. Don't let your emotion kick in when you get into a trade and it starts flying and you don't know what to do. Have some notes beside you. I like to put some notes on my screen, wait for pullback, sell for 20-cent profit. Little notes, right? Whatever it is, little things to remind you, because there's nothing worse than staring at the numbers on the screen, staring at the percentage, watching your profit loss go up, 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 and then watching it go down, 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 down. There's nothing worse than that. So if you have a couple of notes to remind you, I like to stick them on the screen. I like to have my watch list close by. You have a little pep talk. I heard a good thing from Nate from Investors Live. Put a $100 bill on your screen. Never forget the importance of a $100 bill, right? I don't do that because I'm at work, and I think my boss would probably think I'm absolutely nuts. But for any other traders, throw a $100 bill on your screen. Your stock goes up $200 and you've been in the trade for 20 minutes. Do you really need to keep going? You just made $200 in 20 minutes. Show me a job that does better. Show me a return on your investment that does better. So that's what I got. That's my rant for the day, Saturday rant. I think I'm going to go have a Guinness and hang out with some Irish friends and have a good day. All right, guys, we're going to build a watch list tomorrow night. I think we got a couple more guys that's going to join the Skype, and then I'll post it on Twitter, and I'll try and get make a Facebook post or something like that. And you guys can try and follow along and see what I'm looking at, and if you like it, ask me some questions. If you have any questions or any input about my emotions topic, please feel free to write some comments or whatever you think. If you think I was wrong about something, pipe up and let me know. I can admit where I was wrong. I just took some cliff notes today, and this is going off some stuff that I've read in the past, so I feel that a lot of this stuff is just pretty general information that we are all wrapped up in together. So if you like the channel, subscribe, comment, like. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.